First, I want to tell you that not so long ago, I had it all. By New York City standards, I had it all. I had a terrific job on Wall Street. Thank you, Jamie. I owned a loft apartment in Union Square, and I used to come into this gallery and fall in love with something and pay cash. It was an amazing life. And I think Eric still takes cash. It was an amazing, amazing life. And coming from Ohio, having never expected to get a job like that, I'm eternally grateful. I don't know if I said it during banking, but I'm eternally grateful for that. I worked on Wall Street in currency trading, and in currency trading, the market trades on breaking news in various countries. So if there's breaking news in Japan, the Japanese yen is affected. If there's breaking news in Europe, the euro is affected. And so I had a dream. And my dream appeared on the TV screen every time I turned on the television at work, which was all the time because we had to pay attention to the news. In particular, I was aware of my dream when I would turn on CNN and see Christiane Amanpour reporting live from Baghdad. I knew when I watched Christiane Amanpour on TV, I knew that that's what I was supposed to be doing with my life. And deep down, I knew that Wall Street wasn't it. But I was really enjoying life. One day, Jamie said to me, you're going to take a public speaking course. You're going to take a public speaking course. And I said, oh, no, thank you. And he said, I wasn't asking. And I said, but actually I'm sick. And he said, you're not. Jamie's from a small town in Canada, and people from small towns and people who are Canadian always can see through bullshit. So Jamie said, you're going to the course. So to the course I went. And the first day of the course, the instructor said to all of us, you're going to stand up and you're going to talk about the currency markets for 2 whole minutes. And I don't know what job is worse than standing up in front of your peers and doing your own job in front of your peers, because no matter how wonderful they are, they're judging you and you're judging them. So I stood up for 2 minutes, and I was more nervous then than I am now, and I totally bombed. And so did everybody else. We all bombed. And the instructor, after we'd all sat down, the instructor had a smug look on her face. And it was kind of like she knew that we were going to bomb. So she said, tomorrow you're going to come back and you're going to speak not for 2 minutes, but for 5 minutes. And everybody groaned, and she knew. So we all came back the next morning, and clearly all of us having had a sleepless night, and we stood up and took our turns. When it was my turn, I opened with a really obscure line. I said, have you ever held the hand of a monkey walking through a rainforest? I mean, this wouldn't get me a book deal, would it? I was talking about adventure that I love, travel that I love, adventure travel, storytelling, journalism, and once I finished my 5 minutes, I sat down and everybody stood up. They gave me a standing ovation. And I'll never forget that in that moment, I realized like something had snapped for me. I knew I had to follow my dream. So after the class, the instructor walked up to me and she said, Patricia, what is it that you really want to do with your life? Is it really Wall Street? And you can read about the rest of what happened in the Daily Beast article, which was published about a week ago. But the short of it is that I made a promise to myself that by the age of 30, I would leave Wall Street. But I was 26. And when you're 26, 30 is like never going to happen, and you're just going to go out to the bars. I was, kind of doing that. And then I was 30. And then I was almost 31. And I was very aware that I was just about to break this promise to myself. So with this in the back of my mind, I made a telephone call that would change my life. I made a telephone call to a hedge fund client who hated me, and I didn't like him either. And I'll tell you later who I'm talking about. Yeah, it shouldn't be too tough. I said to him, well, actually what was happening was he owned $1 billion worth of Japanese yen, and he needed to know what was happening in the Japanese yen. So I called him and I said, and that's how much I got out before he said to me, "Are you fucking stupid? Do you know what time it is?" Now, for those of you here on Wall Street, you know that's pretty typical. You swear, you use a lot of gerunds. I occasionally swore now and then. I like to drop an F-bomb, not around my parents. But Eric put the phone down. And, you know, I'd been spoken to like that before, I'd spoken like that before, but for whatever reason, this time I snapped. And the traders here will tell you that when you're on a trading floor, nobody ever notices anything you're doing. Nobody looks up from their desk to notice that you're doing something silly. Case in point, when I was a junior on the trading floor, someone took my slice of cherry pie that I got from the cafeteria, and he put it on the floor and he smashed it, and cherries went everywhere, and no one looked. Because nobody does. You're just teaching somebody a lesson. But on this particular occasion, because I was crying, everybody looked. And I was so embarrassed. I was so ashamed. I was sobbing by this point. I was sobbing like a child. So I walked back to the bathroom, you know, through the whole floor to the ladies' room, and I sat there for a really long time, and I said to myself, Self, what are you doing? What are you doing still here? You're about to break your promise to yourself. Why? Don't you have enough? Isn't it time? So with that, I stood up, and I wiped the tears from my eyes and the snot that had collected, which was quite extensive by that point. And I walked out onto the trading floor. I sat down at my desk and I opened up Google and I typed 3 words into my search: journalism, internship, Asia. And on my screen popped up Mongolia, TV internship in Mongolia. A few months later, I was on an airplane to Mongolia, and I moved in with a family of, strangely, Mongolian Mormons who occasionally blowtorched a sheep, which you can read about in the book. And I went to work as an intern for their national broadcaster, their big TV station in the country. And one day I got a shot at something extraordinary. One day, I became the anchor of the Mongolian news. There's not a day that goes by that A, I can't believe that happened, and B, that I'm here telling you about it. I'm outside of my comfort zone so much more than I'm in it. But I, with complete exhilaration, can tell you that I haven't for 1 second regretted the decision I've made. I am overjoyed. I want to thank you all for coming, but I know as soon as you start thanking people, people slip out the door. So all I'll say is thank you, everyone, for letting me share my dream with you, for some of you sharing your dreams with me. Thank you to Eric and Eric. And funny, the hedge funds client may have been Eric, so thank you to everybody who's named Eric. But most of all, thank you to Mongolia, and Mr. Gonbold Erdene from the Mongolian mission to the United Nations is here. Thank you to Mongolia for giving me a chance at my dream that I did not deserve. And to Mongolia, I owe a debt of gratitude, which I will continue to repay for a lifetime. Thank you, all of you, for coming. one last announcement. The book, I hope you don't mind, the book is $25, but you can have it for $20 if you use Facebook or Twitter and you share it. Or if you're my dad and you don't know what Facebook or Twitter is, you pay $25.